What are some of your night game openers? Feel free to just like list a bunch of your openers or add some context. Let's give people ideas.
All right, who wants to go first? It's weird. I don't even. It's so funny because I for those that don't know, I'm not like a pickup artist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a dating coach. I teach games, so I don't really like have openers. Like I have things that I tell guys to do that's on like or behind the paywall. But but basically all I really do is just this the simplest thing that I do is when I see a woman, right? I'm just saying, "What's up? Hey, how you doing?" And then I immediately go into something sexual. Like I might say, "Yo, what's up? How you doing?" I'll be like, "You look sexy in them jeans," because I want to make the conversation sexual as soon as possible because I want to see her reaction to me immediately flirting and trying to be sexual with her. So I limit very platonic talk like out of the situation. So that's what I would basically do.
Yeah, I agree. You got to be assertive in the beginning. I mean, I just tell my people to express how they feel towards a person. So usually I would say, I find you extremely attractive today. What would happen to my camera? Okay.
That
Okay,
was a
just zoom in for
dramatic
no reason.
zoom with like the
Like boom, boom.
perfect
It's like,
timing. What the
okay.
fuck?
So I'm talking now. Spotlight. It's like, yeah, I find you very attractive today. Wanted to come and say hi. And then depends on what she's saying, I can
Mhm.
gauge her interest in me.
Right.
And then I can proceed or I can, leave as is.
That was intense, especially with that zoom in. Like, what the fuck?
That was magic.
I
Yeah.
see it just fucking risk the fucking webcam there. Even the webcam got wet.
Oh shit.
That's the opener. You get really close to her face really quickly, like a
Right.
zoom. Yeah, that's the yeah. Yo, I'd try it out. No, I got this one from like as funny as this is, the YouTube pickup dudes that do the cameras on the campuses. There's one shout out to Jack Denmo for that. He literally like points at the girl and whatever she's wearing, and that can work in the nightclub as well. Like you know, blue jeans, yellow top, black glasses. And you find if you get a bit more of a quieter place, it can really, really work. Again, at the end of the day, the best opener that you'll ever have in your entire life is how's your night going? Because the thing is, it really ain't about what you're saying at the first moment. You can come up with the wittiest, most craziest line, the best line ever, or you can just get on with the conversation where the actual action happens. It's like the only 100% like the best opener is her responding to you in hopefully a positive way. The worst opener is like literally getting blanked, right? So anything that just starts it, it's kind of like on Tinder or Bumble, it's kind of the same thing. If she responds, perfect. That's it. That's like your first thing. And then the magic can happen from there. That's where you got to get a little bit creative. I guess a couple of other ones that I can remember, you know, just like an inquisitive or making a laugh, like, is that you? Is that you, Jenny? Oh no, sorry, wrong. Like, and but you're in there. Just make some shit up, right? It's kind of like improv. You want to get good at that, good at like learn some improv, you get really good at openers. Because you'd be like, you know, grandma, it boom, opens conversation. It's not really about that. So that's what I really rock with. And it's also fun for me because you can only say the same opener 52 times in a night before you get fucking bored. So make some fun with it. Have some fun.
Right.
Yeah, I think
100%.
this is why it's so difficult to give people a pickup line because you know a lot of guys that get into the game they want to know what's the line, what's the best line, and the truth is it's all about alignment and it all depends on your state. So ideally you're in a peak state and you're all positive and you're upbeat, so you can just say whatever you want. You know, the go-to opener that I would use if I'm just warming up or if I'm just getting into the flow is oh, thought you were cute. I wanted to say hi. But as the night goes on or as the day goes on, I start getting more in state. It's like it really is sub communication. And like the guy before said, it's like you can tap a girl on the shoulder and say hi. I mean, a lot of the time when I'm talking to girls and I'm in a club and I'm in a peak state, I'll tap them on the shoulder. I'll just literally do a love heart. So if I had to break down what I'm doing and the reason why it's working, I would say it was you're combining humor and playfulness with flirtation. So I might say, "Excuse me, I think I just fell in love. I saw you over there, and I'm looking for a future wife." So it naturally comes out. I'm not quantifying or thinking too much about what I'm saying.
I'm allowing that playful state and that joyous energy inside me, combined with the fact that I find her attractive, to dictate and determine what is the opener. And the subconscious is a lot more fluent and a lot more reliable than you think. And my argument would be it's not so much about planning what you're going to say when you go out to see a woman. It's about getting yourself in a playful state, having a great time, and expressing your inspiration or your desire to get to know that girl, combined with humor. And that's how you break the ice. Because if you're going in a playful way, excuse me, I think I do love you. All right, darling, where have you been all my life? I'll do stuff like that. And I'm not saying that in the same humor and charisma that I would when I'm on a night out. But the reason it works is because if you're showing that playful side of yourself, you're showing that you're not taking yourself too seriously. You've heard of the icebreaker. It breaks the ice because you're communicating to the woman that if she engages with a conversation with you, it's not too logical, it's not too serious. Therefore, she's not going to get pulled into an awkward interaction. If you permit yourself to be playful, the mirror neurons in her brain are going to see that you don't care, you're not looking for approval, and that's going to allow her to indulge in the conversation and play back. So that's kind of how I run my game when I'm out and about. It's not logical, it's not systematic, it's just complete expression because of the mood I'm in. And yeah, combine humor, combine playfulness with flirtation, like tell her that you think she's hot, and you're good to go. That's how you get into a conversation with a flirtatious dynamic.
Cool. Probably going to disagree with most of you. I think the subcoms are super important. Don't get me wrong. I think you could take, you could give me probably 10 lines that were different ranges of what you think was good or bad. And you could get students to go out there, and as long as they have really good charisma, really good subcoms, they could probably pull it off, right? I agree with that. I think that's much more important. But I think when we're talking about like optimal openers, I think what you say does really matter and can change the dynamic of the interaction. So for instance, I think we should be looking at the girl and seeing, okay, what opener do we think is going to work best for her? So if you're a really good looking guy and the girl's already like smiling, looking you up and down, then yeah, going direct gives you like confidence points, right? So if you're going to go indirect or direct, going direct, the girl's at least going to think, okay, for the guy to go here and tell me like, I'm hot, I'm good looking, whatever it might be, that requires some balls, all right? So this guy, he's confident, right? He's probably good with women. So you get some points there. Now, the problem is if you're not that good looking, confidence isn't enough to build attraction. If you're an average looking dude and this girl's at 10, just being confident's not enough. Like if that's all she sees and now you make her make a decision, like I think you're super sexy and she has to be like yes or no, you're kind of screwed there. So I think you need to look at the girl, like, do I think she's going to find me attractive just by my looks and confidence? Is that enough? Yes or no? And then if you are going to go direct, I'd say something that says something about yourself. So instead of just saying like, for me, you're sexy or you're cute, I'd rather say like, you're very feminine, because that probably says that I'm a masculine guy. You could say, I really like your fashion and point out what it is, because then it at least says you have a good fashion sense. So I think you can pick out something about the girl that shows a level of understanding there or shows something about yourself. If you're going to go indirect, I usually try to pick a frame here. So I would go up and say something like, hey, I got to be honest, all of you guys look so fucking friendly. Because even if a couple of those girls like thank you or yes, it's commitment and consistency bias, even at the smallest level, because now it's like, hey, we have to act friendly, right? Then if you have a girl that's maybe a little bit of an attention seeker, a bit of attitude, I like to do like a security guard open, right? So I like to strip that validation. I'll go over and say like, listen, you can't dance here, right? Move, right? Hey, you're in the way, you can't stand here. And now immediately, again, it's fitting into the girl's archetype essentially. Lastly, what I'll say is for a girl that's like super attractive, where most guys are probably think, I don't think any opener is going to fucking work here. And not just a function of attractiveness, but a function of this girl's used to getting attention and she is used to rejecting guys. So usually if you see the really hot girl at the club and she gets open like 5 times in a matter of like 30 minutes and she's telling everyone to fuck off, all of these opens probably aren't going to work, even if you do it in a really amazing, charismatic way. I would go super indirect here. I would usually go up and be like, hey, just real quick, 1 second. I'm like, I just have to say, you and your friend here are the cutest couple in this whole club. Like, holy shit, this is like really romantic. Because the girls were probably going to say that anyway, right? How many times have you guys seen students or you self go up to like these really hot girls that are used to getting a lot of attention and they're like, this is my girlfriend. So I preempt that shit. I go in and say, you guys are an amazing couple. And every single time you get a good response. because they're fucking trolling you at this point. They're like, haha, yes, we've been together for what is it, 2 years, haha, and they think they're just fucking trolling you. And then I'll continue that little role play for a little bit, and I'll just tell them like, look, I'm fucking with you guys. I know you aren't together. And now I'm already in the set. I've built some compliance here, and you're good to go. If you want to be a little bit more edgy, and I usually look at one of them and say, like, listen, you can do a lot better than your friend here. And at least that creates a little bit more of a true validation. But yeah, I think it's important to, at the beginning, as everyone said, focus on the subcoms and just how you're saying it. But then at some point, like, we need to be a little bit more optimal, I think, and figure out what opener is going to work best on the goal and then apply that opener.
So see, I see what you're saying as far as there are certain things like what you say can matter in a sense based on getting someone's attention. So, I can say one thing or another thing, and this other thing might get more attention than that thing. But what I disagree with though is I'm totally against doing things and tailoring it to the woman. And the reason why is because then I feel like it gets into a point where it's like you're kind of it's like you're dancing around to try to get her. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I'm not trying to get the woman has to try to get me. So I'm not trying to like do it for her. You understand what I'm saying? Because also because you were saying, what if the girl's a 10? I'm like, well, what's a 10 though? You know what I'm saying? Like what that's subjective. You know what I mean? Like your 10 might be my 5 and vice versa. You see what I'm saying? So how do I?
Yeah. So when I say 10, I'm talking about somewhat of it's subjective, but what I think she thinks she is. So you might have a girl that's a 7, right? Let's say looks wise, that most people would say she's, average attractiveness. But if you see her rejecting everyone in the club and she's walking around with fucking attitude and she's got like a group of girls walking behind her, that girl thinks she's a 10 and she's probably going to try to reject most guys. You might have a girl that's like really incredibly hot. And some of these girls are so sweet. Like you go up to a group set and you're like, you're the hottest girl here. Why are you the one that's so friendly and receptive? So when I say like best guess here, I'm usually basing it on like how I think this girl perceives herself. And do I think she's going to basically reject a direct opener here is what I'm thinking.
The reason I disagree with that is because we're talking about emotional contagion. And in a way, we've got all these perceptions about how we are in our status and our value in the club compared to how the super hot girl is, but that's a projection. And when you go up to a girl, you're a blank slate. You could say, oh, you're not dressed well and you haven't got good fashion, but in reality, the way that you present yourself and the way that you hold yourself, that's what the woman's looking at. When we talk about sub-communications, it's not about holding strong body language and deliberately making eye contact. It's about being in such a peak state that the whole way that you hold yourself is automatically conveying high status. I've gone up to girls before recently, said, excuse me, you're so hot, I just pissed my pants. And this girl was smoking hot, and tapped a girl on the shoulder and started singing Lady in Red. Now, the reason that works, why does that work? We know why that works, because if I say you're so hot, I just pissed my pants, I'm not putting on a front. I'm not putting on an act. I'm not conceptualizing what I'm doing. I'm saying the funniest thing that's entertaining me, and that's indicating to the woman that I'm not try hard. I'm not trying to impress her. So my status is immediately exceeded hers because I can speak to her in that way. If she's a 9 or a 10, every other guy's like, they're either terrified, struggling for their words, or they're conceptualizing, trying to say something situationally relevant to fit in. If you get to yourself to such a peak state where you're having such a good time, you don't need approval from anyone in that environment. You can say whatever you fucking want. I've done it before. I've been like, oi, come here now. And this smoking hot girl who's blonde and 6 foot long legs have come over to me like a puppy dog. So it's all about how you feel about yourself. And when I say the opener doesn't matter, I truly believe that because I've kissed girls without speaking to them. I've said that one of my friends used to go out and go up to a girl who's got natural game. And he used to say, I want to put my head up your ass. And the girl was eating out of his tongue. So, yeah, I know, but it worked. Why does that work? Because you're showing every girl where everyone's in the matrix, they're in the nightclub, they're trying to play a role. You're the guy that's out of the matrix who doesn't give a fuck and is just in a party mode. So they want to be around that fun vibe. That's real status. It's not the situationally relevant or the intellectually credible opening line. It's the fact that your energy is so carefree.
It's not about what works. It's about what works best. Yes, I've gone up to girls. And as I said, confidence is a great thing. If you go up to a girl and you're like, listen, hey, wait 1 sec, holy shit, okay, I just have to tell you, blah, 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 and you give a compliment. Of course, that works a lot of times. But I'm saying what works best. If you have a girl that's just rejected 5 guys, I don't give a fuck what you say. That's not going to work, right? You go up and you're not going to get a good response from this girl. This opener that you're suggesting isn't 100% foolproof. And I'm not saying mine is either, but I've tested this shit. And one going super indirect is going to work way more often than just being very charismatic, feeling like carefree. And I think like the mindset here, you guys have it actually wrong. I think like you're sitting there saying, I don't want to change myself for the girl. I think that is actually the change, because the way you would interact with people normally, like if you go up and speak to guys, you're probably going to change your approach depending on the guy. Like if there's an 80-year-old man sitting next to you at the bus stop and you're having a chat to him, I would hope that you're being a little bit socially calibrated here. And the way you speak to him is going to be different to your 5-year-old nephew or niece, or compared to your best mate. I think the way you speak to every guy in society is going to change and shift a little bit depending on the person. But now you're telling yourself, hey, this is a girl, so I'm just going to be completely, I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to be calibrated. I'm not going to, no, obviously you guys are, right? We're changing ourselves for other people all the time. It's a very normal thing to do. And I think it's very socially calibrated. If I see a girl with a group, the way I speak to it is going to be different when she's by herself. If I see a girl that's very shy and nervous, the way I interact with her is going to be different to a girl that is like an attention seeker and bratty and loves attention and things like that. So I think the mindset of telling yourself this prize frame of, listen, I'm better than any girl. I don't need to worry about it. I don't need to, because I hear some guys say this where it's like, listen, I'm not going to change anything for myself, right? If she likes me, no, you got to be calibrated, right? And so if I see a girl and she's in the club and she's rejecting a bunch of guys, that's probably not the girl that I'm just going to rely on confidence and charisma to get. I'm probably going to go in and speak to the friend first, or I'm going to use a very indirect opener. I think that's going to work a lot more.
But the thing is though, and see, I agree that yes, if I'm talking to women, plural in general, I'm probably going to talk to women differently in some ways than I talk to like my mom or, my best friend, because I'm talking to a woman to flirt with her, to build sexual tension, to have sex with her and make that happen. But that's because I'm talking to women, but I'm not going to change for that particular woman. Do you see what I'm saying? So if I see her reject 5 guys, I don't care if she reject 5 guys, because I'm not any one of those 5 guys. I'm a different motherfucker. So like, let's say, for example, the reason, let's say all 6 of us, let's say all 6 of us approached a woman and she rejected 5 of us except for Asen. So she rejected everybody on this panel except for Asen. Now, the reason why she rejected all of us is because we're not Asian, and she just has a thing for Asian guys. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't know. You know what I'm saying? So why am I trying to change myself for her when the reason why she chose him was because of that specific thing?
Again, this mindset of like change myself for her, I think is a negative mindset. Now, I agree with you. Like, I'm not just saying like, I get it. I'm not sitting there saying, oh, because she rejected 5 guys, I'm 100% going to get rejected and I'm not good enough, so I need to go more indirect. That's not what's going through my head. What's going through my head is this girl is fucking sick of guys coming up to her. Okay. Maybe I see the friends pushing away too. She's clearly, in her mindset, is like not in the mood to speak to guys. If she's very attractive, I know this because I've practiced so many times. I know that sometimes here, just being confident is not going to be enough. Now, sometimes it will. Sometimes you can go over and be confident, but you can't sit here and tell me every single time you go up with confidence and say you look sexy, it's successful, because I can guarantee you it's not. And so those times that it's not, I'm saying if you went more indirect there, you would have had a much better approach. If you said, hey, you two look great together, you're such a great couple, that's going to work way more often than you saying, hey, you're really sexy. So those times that it didn't work, those times that the girls didn't want to speak to you, would have been great opportunities to try something much more indirect there.
No, I get you on that. But then what happens when you do that? She talks to you, she responds to you, y'all having a conversation, y'all are laughing and giggling, but the whole time she's just using you for attention. She's like, I don't like this motherfucker. I'm just having him here entertain me for 2 seconds.
Yeah, great question.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, what I'm saying is that either it's gonna happen or not happen, but it's only gonna not happen or happen on my terms. So
again, like I think it's a bad mindset. Like I don't think it's just gonna happen or it's not gonna happen. I think I have so much influence over whether this is going to happen or not happen. So your question of what if she's just using you for attention? Well, I'm going to strip validation, right? If that's the case, if I go over and we're chatting and girls are like this, right? You see some girls bounce from guy to guy in the club, they make up with a guy, they dance with another guy. If she's sticking around and she's like, hey, I'm just using this guy for attention, perfect. I love that dynamic. Now what happens when I remove that attention and give it to your friend, right? This girl gets a little bit annoyed. She tries to, hang on 1 second. Keep talking to a friend. Now we start to get some attraction built. Now she starts to chase. Now she starts to invest more. I can turn back and be like, oh, so anyway, about this, blah, blah, blah. She invests more. And then I can judge. I can either give her some validation now or I can take it back. So yeah, I agree. I don't mind if that's a dynamic to begin with. I don't mind if that's how we start out. I'm down for that. And now it gives me the opportunity to build value, to make a chase, to get her invest. And then before you know it, we're like 10 minutes in this interaction. And now this girl's attracted to me. Now she's into me. Now we're past that stage. So instead of thinking in my mind of, I'm just going to go up. If she likes me, she likes me. If not, whatever, is I know I have the ability here. I have these skills. I have these tools I can use to actually build this investment and build this attraction. That's what I see it.
Yeah, and see that's the thing. That's I think that's probably why I'm not a pickup artist because the thing is like that's the part where I feel like you're wasting a lot of time with women who may not necessarily be interested in you. Because everything you said could happen, but also the opposite could happen. Meaning you're doing all that technically for her, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna talk to her friend and she's gonna, be ignored, and then she's probably gonna come back to me and all this other stuff. So you're technically doing it for her. So let's say you do all that and she's still not interested. So why waste time doing all that when you could
That's such a cope. You sound like do all that. I've spent 10 minutes in a fun interaction. Right now, yes, I'm not going to sit here and say every single girl I ever open and do this, it works. But after those 10 minutes, the times that it doesn't work, I'm not going to sit there and be like, I can't believe I wasted 10 minutes of my entire life on two of these girls and speaking to them. And like, but no, it's such a cope. Like, yes, I'm going to go in and I'm going to try and make it happen. And I've got to a point now, like before it was really low rates. Now I've got to a point where it works most of the time. So I'm not even worried about that. But to sit there and they like feel like I'm trying and I'm doing it for the girl, that's not how I feel. When I'm sitting there and I'm ignoring her and she's chasing, I'm speaking to the friend, my internal mindset isn't like, oh my God, I'm doing this for the girl. I think she's so amazing. No, I don't know her fucking yet. Right now, she's got a good booty, and that's why I'm doing this. So if she ends up being really annoying or I don't get along with her, it's fine. I'll move on to someone else. And now I've got some pre-selection. I've got this whole girl in the club chasing me around. That's all good. But like to say it's me trying too hard or I'm doing it for the girl, I think it's just a bad place to come from, to be honest.
Well, I want to say something real quick. I do agree with whatever you guys are saying. Obviously, different people have different approaches, and that's why certain people resonate with certain coaches, right? And in this case, I resonate more with, Hashim and Dean in the sense that, I don't really want to change. But also, Marcus has a great point. You do want to be situationally aware because that indicates that you're intelligent, you're reading the room. If a girl just rejected 5 guys, you don't want to just go in there with the same approach, right? In this case, I would say something like, so I'm curious, what did that guy say, right, to you? And then she might say like, oh, he said that I'm beautiful, right? And then I would then ask her, so if a guy talks to you, comes up to you, how would a guy get your number, right? And then she would tell me, oh, he has to be like this and that. And then I'll just do the same thing she said. Like, okay, hey, I'll say the same thing and then see what happens, right? That might make her laugh, and we'll see. We'll go from there.
I would add to what Marcus said. This is like sort of like saying like why start a business because it can fail. Like why do anything that has any risk? Like if you're a salesman, why should you knock on that person's door? They can just reject you or they can slam the door in your face. Like anything good in life requires some level of risk. By not taking any social risks, you are limiting yourself to a very small select part of girls. But yeah, I don't see it as like, oh, you waste your time. Like if you like anyone who has a business, like you try different strategies, you try different marketing plans. And so if I run a Facebook ad and doesn't succeed, I don't beat myself up like, why did I run that ad? I just learn from that and run a better ad next time.
No, it's not. It's not about the rejection. It's about why waste time if I have girl A and girl B, girl A I speak to, she's cooperating immediately. Girl B is not. Why would I waste time with girl B when I could talk to girl A?
Yeah, everyone would agree with that. But let's say you don't
actually,
have
I
what
wouldn't
if you
agree
don't
with
have
that,
girl
actually.
A? What if you
Yeah,
don't
I
have
wouldn't
girl
agree
A?
with that. I think like if girl A and girl B, the question I don't ask myself in the club is I don't look around and say, who's going to be cooperative with me? Who's going to like say, no, I look around in the club and I think, number one, who am I most attracted to? And then my second my second principle thing is going to be like, who do I get along with most? Now, often the girls I get along with most, honestly, are the ones that give me the most shit to begin with, right? Like I do enjoy a girl that's got a bit of like outgoing attitude and things like that. I actually like it. But yeah, like if there's girl A and girl B is like very unattractive, I don't like her, but she's like talking to me. And then her friend girl A is like incredibly good looking, smart girl, charismatic, but she's like, I don't want to talk to guys tonight. Then yeah, guess what? I'm going to talk to the girl that doesn't want to talk to guys tonight. And I'm gonna, put up with 10 minutes of like trying things. And yeah, I'm gonna hopefully take her home.
Right. And
I
that's
wonder
what
if
I would say that a lot of guys don't also have girl A. So I would actually sort of side with you on this. Like if I have two girls who are completely equal in terms of looks and personality, and one is a lot more receptive, I would focus
Oh,
on
okay, yeah,
more,
yeah, of course, yeah.
that's more receptive, assuming everything is equal. But a lot of guys don't have that. Most guys don't have that. So you go out and you don't have girl A. You just have a bunch of girl Bs. And especially if you're not particularly good looking or you don't have any status in that environment. So there's nothing wrong with going out and taking a risk and potentially wasting 5 minutes of your time. You can tell within 5 minutes, I would say. Within most guys can tell within 30 seconds. But I would say 5 minutes at most, whether it's going to lead to something or not. So it's like wasting 5 minutes. It's like it's not that big of a deal. It's just like again, like trying a new marketing strategy or whatever. Like if you just don't try anything, then unless you are unless you have a business where people are coming to you and saying, please, let me do this for you, which most people don't have, then you have to take some risk and potentially risk wasting your time.
See, I think it just depends on the person's agenda. So like if because my agenda is cooperation. So I know Marcus probably doesn't give a shit. He's just like, hey, she's hot. Let me try to figure it out and get her. So I think it just depends on the person's goal or their agenda of why they're doing what they're doing. Because with me, cooperation is number one. So my thing is that if girl A isn't cooperating and girl B is I'm not attracted to her, I'm just gonna find a new girl A. I'm not gonna waste time talking to anybody else in the situation until I'm interacting with a woman who showed me the cooperation from the jump. So 10 minutes to me is 10 seconds is too much time to waste. You see what I'm saying?
But the
But
problem is like you're asking girls to judge you literally on nothing. You're asking the girls to judge you on confidence and looks and fashion. That's it.
no,
Like
no, 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 no,
so at the
no.
end, no, you are. What else
No,
do they see?
no, but this is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that women understand the difference between a guy who's masculine, confident, and knows what he's doing versus a male who doesn't. Because
Okay,
women,
so you're asking the girl to judge you on masculine, confidence, and
yeah,
knowing what you're
so,
doing, right?
right.
And you're letting them do a 10-second judgment of that, right? A lot of girls aren't going to find that attractive enough. So I'm sorry. Like if you send most students out
Especially the
there
hotter
and they're
girls.
very confident and masculine and like that's you, yeah, super hot girls, that's not going to be enough, right? Like that's like the bare minimum. It's not like the threshold for them to be into you. It's just not going to happen. And
It
same
goes
with
way.
girls is there's a lot of girls that I meet that put on the mask. Like they seem like a complete fucking bitch to begin with in the first like 10
Because
seconds.
they're
It
not
goes
And
into
then
way
like
it.
10
deeper
minutes
than
in, they're
confidence.
amazing. They're
It
incredible.
goes.
Like some of the coolest girls I've ever met. So I think like to go up and just be like 10 seconds either side is just you need more time. You need to be able to get to know the girl and her to get to know you.
I would
That's a
pose a
very
hypothetical.
one-dimensional way of looking at it because it runs way deeper than confidence. The reason that woman in the first place has got such a persona up, the reason she's blown the last six guys out is not because she's a bitch. It's because the way the guys are going up are so stifled, so nervous, so approval seeking that they're trying to get something from the girl.
Right.
So women have double standards. If you're trying to play that game and you're trying to pull her, you're trying to conceptualize your behavior in hope that you get a response from that woman, you're always in reaction to her. So it doesn't matter how cool you are, how smooth you are, you're just another guy that's trying to pull her. But if you go in with the mindset, like I said, I've gone up to hot girls and said, "You're so hot, I nearly pissed my pants." And the reason that a woman gets sucked into that energy is emotional contagion. So you're missing a third dimension here. It's like the state that you feel and how much fun you're having and the vibe that you're conveying has an effect on how that woman feels in your presence. So for one guy, he might say, "Hey, I thought you were cute," but there's a load of neurosis there. There's a lot of trauma. There's a lot of nervous energy. She doesn't want to be around that. Another guy comes up and says, "Hey, come over here." It's like it's a double standard depending on the state that the guy's in. It's not just about confidence; it's about the energy that you're conveying
I agree.
that
No,
actually
no, I
has
agree.
an
100%.
energetic
You could
effect on that
say
woman.
you could say you look really hot and you could say it in a way that sounds like you don't give a fuck what you think of the girl, right? Like you can go up to a girl and give a compliment like, "Hey, I just got to say you look really fucking great." As opposed to, "Oh my God, you look amazing." I completely agree with all this. All I'm saying is it's what it sounds like is you guys are picking a persona to not a persona, but you're picking let's say a level of confidence, you're picking a level of like social contagion, but you're basically allowing whatever it is that you're saying 10 seconds, right? And so if the girl does reject that first 10 seconds, it's done in your mind. And so what I'm saying is, obviously, what you're doing isn't working 100% of the time. There's probably times here where you can put in a little bit more effort, right? Or you can divert the strategy or use a different strategy. That's all I'm saying.
You could go in with perfect energy, perfect confidence, everything you
Yeah,
said.
and reject it.
And,
Yeah.
and the girl, some of the hottest girls I've
100%.
hooked up with from cold approach, they were not super receptive within the first 10 seconds. It took me a few minutes, sometimes 10 minutes for them to warm up. I mean, I have infield of this on my channel. The Finnish girl is a good example. Like when we first started, she was super standoffish. Within 5 minutes, she became a lot sweeter. Yeah, I find that like the hottest girls, it's just there's exceptions, but most of the time they're not like super into me, no matter how confident I go up to them. I feel like it's too overly simplistic, especially the hottest girls. They have so many guys approaching them. There's other confident, assertive guys who've approached them. You're not the only one. So yeah, you gotta have to, if you want to go, like if you want to limit your, if you want to just get with any girl, then I guess you don't have to do this. But if you want to go for the hottest girls, then you have to have a little bit more patience and tact. I'll just pose a quick hypothetical for Lucario. Let's say you have two options. There's only two girls at this bar. One of them is a 6, but she's really, really into you, and one of them is a 9, but she's a bit standoffish. You can only go for one of these two. Which one do you go for?
I'm going for the 6 all day. And the reason why is because I don't like having sex with women on their terms. So if you like having sex with women on their terms, that's cool, but I don't like doing that. You understand? I
Yeah,
can't.
I would. Yeah, that's where we differ. I would go for the 9.
Right,
and I would,
that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
I'll go for the 9.
Right,
And
that's what
like
I'm
honestly,
saying.
I
That's the
think
difference.
yeah, I think the difference is because I get what you're saying, right? If the choice was, if Alex posed this to me, right? There's a 6 that is into you, and there's a 9 that you can sleep with, but she's not going to enjoy it. She's going to think you're a piece of shit, and she's never going to want to speak to you after.
All right, here,
Yeah, I'd probably
folks.
go. Actually, I'd maybe go the 9. No, I'm kidding. I'd probably go. But the point is, like, you're seeing this as Alex and I, like, trying really hard and chasing the goal the entire time, and her being like, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Like, that's not the point. Like, when we're implementing these strategies, it's not coming from a place of trying. Just like Dean was saying earlier, like when you go up and say like you're hot to the girl or give a compliment, it doesn't have to come from a place where you put her on a pedestal and you're fucking really into this girl. It can be like a laid back, we'll see what happens type of attitude. And that's what I like to take on. It's like, yeah, I want to get to know this girl, but I'm not acting like I'm desperate to have sex with her or I'm in love with her. It's she's giving me some shit, but I understand why. It's not, I'm not upset about this. I'm not thinking like you're disrespecting me, but I'm gonna really try now. I don't see it that way. She's not disrespecting me. She doesn't fucking know me. All I'm thinking is I need some strategies so she gets to know more of me, because she can see a dominant aspect of myself in those first 10 seconds, but not all of it, right? She doesn't know that I travel around the world, that I own a company, that I do sex coaching, that I like, she knows none of this. She knows I'm a very confident, masculine, dominant guy. And sometimes, guess what? There's not enough. Like, it should be most of the time, I agree, but sometimes it's just not. So, yeah, like, it's just the place that it comes from, I think is important. If I was to feel like I'm getting disrespected, I'm trying really hard, yeah, it'd be awful, but that's not how I see it. I don't
That
see
wouldn't
it
even
as
work anyway. Trying really
disrespecting.
hard would never work in the first place.
Yeah, true.
Wait,
So
wait,
that
wait,
would
hold
be
up.
the thing.
Here's the theoretical. Would you rather go for a crackhead free who will do anything you want, or well, you go for a 10 who just goes on the bed and just lays there still
10,
like a plank?
10,
I'm
10.
not using any. I'm not messing with any of them. But this is what I'll say.
Neither.
I don't care if she's missing a fucking leg. I still go for the 10.
So
I don't
it's-
want a
Oh, man,
crackhead
the whole
free.
thing, yeah.
So wait, let me ask Alex and Marcus something. So have you ever had a situation where you're talking to these girls, they come back to your place, and then they kind of like are like, oh, I changed my mind. I don't want to do it. Has that ever happened?
Well, I don't know if me and Marcus might differ on this, but I don't typically pull groups. I pull a single girl by herself. Yeah, there has been times where I pulled a girl and she changed her mind last minute, but I would say it's pretty rare. Like if I get a girl back to my place, the majority of the time I'm going to sleep with her, unless there's some crazy circumstance where, but yeah, vast majority of the time I'll sleep with her when she's back in my place. But I avoid inviting groups back to my place unless I have a wingman and unless it's like a 2-on-2. I won't invite a group of
It
girls.
don't gotta be a group. I'm just talking about like a girl. Like, you don't have to be a group. Just like a
Yeah,
girl.
yeah. Most of the time when she goes back to your place, you're gonna close her unless you do something really weird.
Yeah, I'm talking about the girls that you guys are talking about that you would have to spend extra time with. Like you said,
Yeah,
oh,
you got to realize by the time I assume it's the same for Alex, but I'll speak for myself. But by the time I'm pulling, this girl's already chasing. The dynamic has changed. Like it's not. I see you kind of picturing this dynamic where we're like chasing this girl the whole time, and like
You're
by the
like
time she's
convincing her,
coming
hey, let's
home,
just go over here. Hey, let's just go.
yeah, it's like
I wear my
RSD, like
place.
just
So,
quick
so
adventure. No, by the time the girl's
100%
coming
of the
home,
time, so 100% of
usually
the time they come back and they're
so
down. It's
yeah,
happening.
let me explain. So usually by the time we're coming home, I've
Mm,
already talked to him about the type of sex we're having. I've probably already dirty talked to her. Like this is already like happened. I do a thing called like fantasy search, so I find out what she wants in bed.
mm.
Now, yes, sometimes you might get a concern when you get back to your place. So I might have girls, this is amazing, let's go, blah, blah. Then they get back and they might say, I didn't know about this. But here I'd be like, what's up? And maybe they'll say something like, well, I'm just worried you won't want to see me again. Right. If that's the case, then maybe I'll say, like, listen, you seem cool. If like we have a fun time, of course I'm gonna want to see you again. Like it makes no sense not to. Maybe a girl's like, listen, I haven't shaved. Like I'm a bit embarrassed. I wasn't expecting. It's like, it's cool. Hey, listen, I don't give a fuck about that. So yeah, there are going to be like some reasons that pop up. I mean, I'm not sure where this is leading, but it's not going to be reasons like, oh, I've changed my mind. I'm not attracted to you anymore.
No,
If
but that's,
yeah, I'm not
that's,
sure what the
That
question
could
is.
theoretically happen, but it's
that's
very
my
rare.
point, though. That's my point. My point is that a lot of times those that resistance is correlated to the fact that you had to try in the first place. That's what I'm trying to say. Like a lot of times you get like I don't get that. That like
No,
when
no, no.
Bro,
Wait a
you're so
second.
caught up on this idea of trying,
no.
right? Just
That's
because we're
what I'm
Wait,
implementing
hold
a
on, hold on, hold on. I think
strategy.
I can explain this a little bit better. So in the beginning, there might be some resistance because she's got to shit test you, right? She's a hot girl. A lot of guys talk to her, so she's got to know who you are first. That's why in the beginning, when a guy goes approaches her confidently, she might give some resistance, like, "Hey, who the hell are you?" Right? But then if you don't fall for that, you keep on saying things or play along with her to show her your personality, then she's gonna ease off and she's gonna be like, you know what, this guy's kind of cool. Like personal example, right? I like girls who like celebrities, NFL players, but I don't look like an NFL player. I'm not a recording artist, nothing like that.
Mm.
But so that's why when I approach them, they're like, no, 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 you don't fall in my type. You're not black. And then I talk to them. They find out a little bit more about me, right? Saying that, telling them how I am, who I am, and what I can bring to the table, etc. So they get more open. Just like the Pareto's principle, 80% of women are gonna be, let's go with the 20%, right? 10% of women are gonna love you no matter what, and 10% are not. But 80% are gonna be open to you. So you gotta talk to her.
Also, I find that like the girls, like you were going just for the girls who are instantly receptive, who give no resistance, those are going to be 5, 6. This is maybe occasional 7. Those are not going to be the super hot girls because you're not the only guy. You're not the only confident guy that approaches a 9. You're just not. There's going to be plenty of guys who approach with massive confidence, and unless she fucks every single guy with confidence, which means she's fucking like all the time, like fucking has like 200 body count, then she's yeah, there's going to be some level of resistance, and you being resilient is what's going to make the difference between you and the guy that didn't get to fuck her. But yeah, if you're going for like if your goal is just to like minimize resistance and like I just want the easy thing, you're going to be limited to like 6s, and they're going to be 6s who are also probably not dating material because their body count is like 200, 300.
What do y'all
Can
get?
I ask Lakari a question?
Go ahead.
Lakari, I'm curious. You don't have to answer this, it's personal. But
No, I whatever.
do you eat girls out?
My girlfriend's, yeah.
Okay. When you have sex with a girl, like, do you just come like right away, immediately? Do you just like try to get your own nut off?
No. If it's my girl,
Right.
so my girlfriends and the girls that I'm actually with, like I go all out.
No, what about like you just pull a girl the first night, right? Like you
the
take a
first
girl
night,
home.
yeah, the first night she's getting like 10 minutes. That's it.
Yeah, this is crazy to me. Like you're very much in this mindset, it sounds like, where it's this big aversion to doing anything for this girl whatsoever that
Yeah,
feels
but
like you're
yeah,
trying, right? It
that's
feels like
the
you're going to this other end of the spectrum where it's like, I'm actually not going to give a shit. I don't give a fuck about this. I'm not going to, like,
that's
for
yeah.
me, I think you can go down on a girl on the first night and give her an incredible time without feeling like disrespected or without feeling you're giving your power away, about feeling like, yeah, it's crazy to me, to be honest.
No, my thing is women have to earn it. So women have to earn everything. So I'm not giving her the whole shebang the first night because you haven't earned it. She has to earn her way to everything. So this is why I'm saying where if I'm talking
What if
to
she has though? What if she's chasing all night? What if she's after those
no,
first 5 minutes of being like bitchy?
mm,
She's been chasing all night. She's been like validating you. You get home, she like fucking dances for you. She like sucks your dick. Like, What do you mean by earn? Like, at what point does this go earn it for you? I'm curious.
So basically, earning is over an extended period of time. So if we're just talking about sex, like we're actually talking about the act of sex, a new girl only gets like 5-10 minutes, if that much, of dick
But
from
don't
me.
you ever think about the fact that if you fuck a
Wow.
girl really, really, she's much more likely to chase you afterwards, much more likely to see you again?
Right,
Like,
You're missing out on this
that's
opportunity.
what I'm saying. I'm not, see, that's what I'm saying. I think, you know what it is because we have different, it's backwards. So like, y'all are trying to get the girl. I don't care about trying to get the woman. The woman has to try to get me, meaning she has to impress me.
No, there's a difference. We're trying to get the girl to want us, right? We're trying to get the girl to
but
chase us. That's the
I'm just
difference,
trying to
right?
get laid. Yeah, I
You're
don't
seeing,
really.
you're seeing any little bit of effort as trying. Like, this
but that's
is
what I'm saying.
like,
How do you
why would,
get the
okay,
girl?
why download Tinder? That's trying. Why go out to the club? You're trying. Why wear a nice
No,
necklace? You're trying. Like, it feels like this is almost pushing towards the idea of like, you should just be a bum and not give a fuck and like men go on their own way bullshit. Like,
no. This is
it's,
this is what
you
I'm
have
saying.
to try. Yeah.
How are you going to get a girl to chase you when you've chased her?
But the thing is, like,
But
what do
that's
you
the
have
problem.
to
We're not
offer?
Because
saying to
it
chase.
flips. It
We've said
flips.
this so many times. We're not chasing, right?
You
So
are chasing.
the strategies that I'm implementing are not chasing strategies. The
That's
strategies I'm implementing was actually being very indirect, was giving the girl zero attention. What do you think sounds more chasey? Hey, I think you're really sexy. Or, hey, you and your girlfriend look like the best couple in this whole club, right? There's effort behind it, but it's not perceived as high effort and it's not perceived as chasey. When I
But you
ignore her and talk to a
are.
friend, it's not perceived as chasey. When I DHV to her without sounding like I'm trying to impress her, not chasey. So all of this is designed to make her chase me. There's effort behind it for sure. I've practiced this, I've tried, but it doesn't feel that way. It's not high perceived effort. It's not chasing her.
But this is what
To
I'm
just
saying.
add to that, like
You are
it
chasing them.
flips a lot of the time. Like you might be putting more effort in the beginning, but after you fuck a girl really well, she's going to be the one that's going to be putting a lot more effort to see you again. I find it flips usually after sex. Like it might be 50-50 before sex, but if you fuck a girl really well, then it's like she's going to do most of the quote unquote chasing. So that's a huge factor that's important to be conscious of. I would agree with you that if you're constantly like if you're hooking up with a girl regularly, she's your girlfriend, you're the one that's always putting in more effort, that's a bad thing. But up until the point of sex, it's fine because after sex, if you fuck her well, she's going to be the one that's going to put in most of the effort.
But this is what I'm saying. So Marcus said the two girls, right? He said,
Mhm.
I'm ignoring the one girl talking to her friend, and then the girl I'm ignoring is being attracted, right? That's what you said, right?
That I can explain that in more detail, but yes, that's
Right.
roughly speaking.
So essentially, you are not ignoring her because you're talking to the other girl to get the other girl attracted. So you're not even
Yes.
ignoring that girl. You're chasing her by
But
doing
she feels like she's being ignored. Like, this is
right,
the
but
point.
but
Like,
you are
from an
chasing.
internal point of view, you can't implement anything. Otherwise, you feel like you were chasing. No one else in the room feels that way. The girl doesn't feel that way. The friend doesn't feel that way. Everyone watching doesn't feel that way. No one feels that way except for you.
It doesn't
Because
matter if
you'll
that
feel
way,
like you're
you're
trying
actively
really
doing it.
hard, and it's a difficult thing for you to do. You need to drop that. Okay.
No,
It's
no,
this
but
fallacy. You think like any effort is trying.
no,
These
no,
are the
no,
guys that sit there and be like, I'm not going to go to the club. Girls don't deserve that.
no,
You
you're
know,
not listening to what I'm
girls
saying.
deserve that. You
This is
need
what
to be able to
Okay.
sit back and let go of
Hold
that.
up, hold up. Yeah,
That's not what I'm.
should we arrange a separate debate? This is becoming a whole thing now. I was like, let's see where it's going for a little bit, but now I think this probably deserves its own fucking debate.
No, what I'm saying.
If you guys are
Is,
up for it.
right. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying
There we
is,
go. I like
it
that.
doesn't matter if you feel like you're chasing or not. What I'm saying is the actual act that you're doing is an act of chasing. Because what happens is the girl is not coming towards you; she's going away from you. So you're doing something to try to get her to come towards you. I'm telling guys,
Right.
hey, listen. Talk. I'm saying yes. Put in effort to approach the woman. Put in
But
effort.
that's trying. That's
I'm-
trying. That's
no, no,
chasing.
no, no, no,
You're
no, no,
literally
no,
approaching.
no,
You're
no,
going
no, no.
towards her by your
No,
definition.
no, let me show you the difference. Approaching and chasing is two different things. Approaching is I go to the girl, hey, what's up? How you doing? Right now, she's talking back to me. How you doing? We having a
What do
conversation.
you say to her? You're really sexy, right?
Right. So I say, hey, you're sexy. She says,
Yep.
thank you.
So that's not
Do you
chasing.
shower beforehand? Do you put on nice clothes? Do you do all
Wow,
that
that's
before going
chasing,
out?
Alex.
Let me explain it to you. Let me
That's
explain
all
it.
effort.
Let me explain it
Okay.
to you. Now, chasing would be I say, hey, how you doing? Right? She
Mhm.
looks at me funny, walks away. Right? Now I say, oh, that's her friend over there. Let me talk to her friend. Now I'm talking to her friend. Now she comes back. Now let me ignore her to try. Now I'm doing all this to try to get her back to talk to me. That's chasing. So what I'm saying is that a guy should make an approach.
Literally the opposite. You're ignoring her.
Right. And no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said. That's the chasing. What I'm saying is,
No, the reason she walked away is because you were chasing. The reason she walked away is probably because she showed too much effort at first. That's the thing. Again, this is all internal. This is all internal. Her perception is not chasing. It's just internal. But we can talk about this another time, I guess.
Okay. If you guys want to have like a one-on-one debate or, have some other guys participate, we can arrange that another time. That's no problem. That'll be interesting though. I would love to hear more about Mr. Lucario's perspective on that.